the real reason Bowser left Nintendo... Wait, he actually left? Is this real? Is this legit?
Today I announced my plan to retire from Nintendo, effective December 31st, 2025. So that's it then.
Did the fucking egghead actually leave? Did actual Bowser, that's even more evil than Bowser, actually leave? Because my god, this man has been the reason Nintendo has been losing so much. Reggie, the previous guy that was before him, is the reason Nintendo became even more popular. He's the reason Nintendo was loved by so many. But then this guy comes in and suddenly Nintendo just goes from making big stock money to losing stock money. I am glad this Baldi is gone. I am glad. Good things are happening in the world. I am glad that the world is slowly fixing itself.
The end of another.
Today I announced my plan to retire from Nintendo, effective December 31, 2025. Wow, what a great gift for New Year's. I hope the next person to come is somewhere like Reggie, or is at least an actual passionate gamer, and not some stock-driven, or not really stock, but it's not some shareholder slave. Like, yes, you should care about shareholders, but you also need to be passionate and mindful of the consumers. Because if you're not mindful of the consumers, then you're gonna lose money, the company's gonna lose money, and shareholders are gonna lose money.
Another era for Nintendo. Doug Bowser, the president of Nintendo of America, just announced that he will be retiring by the end of the year, with his replacement Devin Pritchard set to replace him as the new president on January 1st, 2026.
Who? Don Pitcher? Dan Pitchford. Don Pitchford? That's the guy. I don't think this is the guy. Maybe Devin? His appointment with Devin. R.I.P. Nintendo. This is some random fucking push. Oh, the first female president in history. Actually, you know, I'm not gonna fall into the whole trap of criticizing her just because she's a woman. And I know, yes, there are many Karens that have destroyed companies, that have destroyed brands, but I'm gonna give her a chance. I'm gonna give her a chance because just how much can she fuck up from this guy? This guy fucked up big time. How big can she fuck it up? I am going to have faith in her. I'm gonna have faith in Devin Pritchard because Bowser, it's like, he was the worst thing. Now I hope you make sense. I hope you actually have the skills for it and you're an improvement from this Baldi here. And I'm not gonna fall into the whole thing like, oh, it's DEI or whatever. Any change is better than Doe Bowser.
6. And whilst his message was certainly heartfelt, the collective response from the internet can basically be summed up as, what did bro do exactly? Aside from his debut where he joked about his coincidentally villainous name.
How are people so fucking delusional or living under a rock? Doe Bowser is the reason Nintendo is such a fucking predatory company these days. He's the reason prices went up. He's the reason Nintendo is never having its games going on sale. He's the reason Nintendo is prioritizing shareholder interest over satisfying consumer demands. He's everything wrong that Nintendo is right now.
He's kept a relatively low profile during his 6-year tenure as president, and with Nintendo's public image taking more than a few hits in the past couple of years, it begs the question, was he a good president? And that's
he was a bad one.
Basically what I want to dig into. I want to find out what Bowser's been up to since he took over from Reggie back in 2019. I want to find out where...
We need someone like Reggie. I hope that girl, that woman, Devin Pritchard, is somewhere towards the direction of Reggie.
Nintendo currently stands, and also find out who are the new people set to take
Name Joshi. That's funny.
over from his place and are set to run Nintendo of America for the foreseeable future. I gotta be honest, I don't think a lot is going to change from a consumer standpoint, but there are a couple of interesting details here that I think are worth mentioning. Before we dive in, I think it's worth clearing up what the president of Nintendo of America actually does, because there seems to be a lot of confusion about that online. with Bowser getting a lot of heat for some of Nintendo's more recent choices that I think is a little misplaced. While President of Nintendo of America sounds like a top dog role, it's more of a regional leadership position rather than the ultimate seat of power. The real headquarters is in Kyoto, Japan, where Nintendo's global president and executives make all of the big calls on hardware and strategy. The American president's job is to lead efforts in marketing, sales, localization, and basically keep the brand strong in the West.
Exactly. Most of Nintendo's audience is in America. Therefore, if you have a good president of America on Nintendo, you're gonna have good things for the consumers in America and in the West, like the entire American continent. So it has huge value. It has huge value, huge importance. Because the one who decided that, like, yes, the pricing and the sales do matter. The marketing do matter. And part of the marketing sometimes it's, we are lowering prices.
More so a figurehead rather than a major decision maker. But when it comes to dictating what consoles get made or what games get greenlit and everything else in between, all of that still comes from Japan. So
yeah, I guess that makes sense. But it's the sales and the marketing that people do care about the most. Yes, we may not get our favorite games getting greenlit or get any improvements on the consoles, but the president of America on Nintendo does have a say in the marketing, in the sales, and in the branding here in the West. And that's a huge component for consumers.
So basically, they're the face of Nintendo for us in the West, but the real power stays in Kyoto. So Bowser took over Nintendo of America on April of 2019, right after Reggie ended his 13-year-long tenure as the previous president. And let's be honest here, he had some pretty big shoes to fill. Reggie wasn't just your average executive. He was actually, dare I say, he was one of the few likable ones. Yes, they did actually exist back then. Reggie was the type of corpo who wasn't afraid to be a bit silly, who leaned into some of the quirky marketing and was somebody...
He made a promotion with Satoru Iwata in order to make... with Satoru Iwata. He made an ad promotion with Reggie, or with him, in order to I guess advertise Smash Brothers. That was so epic. That was so cool. Reggie and Satoru Iwata, they will forever be what made Nintendo great. Anyone should strive to be like Satoru Iwata and like Reggie, because I feel like ever since Satoru Iwata died and ever since Reggie left, Nintendo has been on the decline. And I love Nintendo. I love their games. I grew up with their games. And so I would want them to improve. So I want more Nintendo workers to be and strive to be like Reggie and Satoru Iwata.
That was, well, actively involved, who wasn't afraid to really push the boundaries, especially near the beginning.
I'm gonna be able to come back up next time and kick your ass.
He was out and about, his
Body is ready.
he appeared in various skits, and the Nintendo community really liked him throughout the years. He even has the whole story of pushing for Wii Sports as an included game within the Wii console. Now, he wasn't perfect, he had to defend less popular moves by Nintendo, and he was part of the Wii console. Now, he wasn't perfect, he had to defend less popular...
Reggie says Nintendo fan desires doesn't affect what we do. Oof. Yeah, that's a bad thing. That is a bad thing. But here's what Nintendo has to realize. We the fans are the reason you are where you are. If we all collectively decide that Nintendo is such a bullshit company that doesn't deserve your money, and we all actually just don't pay and don't play your games in a collective sense, and we support your rivals, we support your competitors, and we support your opponents in the gaming industry, then effectively you're gonna lose big profits, or you're gonna lose potential profits. And so you want to effectively fulfill and satisfy our desires collectively.
Moves by Nintendo.
The majority desires, by the way.
Nintendo, and he was part of the company for some of the rougher console launches.
Oh, I think the Wii U was... Some people are saying that the Wii U was just ahead of its time. And I think it was true. Because it's literally the prototype for the Switch. It literally is. Because the Wii U is literally just like... It's a portable console, but the main console needs to be constantly on and connected. and so it's not like you could take it to like all parts of the world or like on road trips. No, it's not like you could do that. You had to eventually you had to have it connected, and it was like, I feel like if the Wii U had come out during the pandemic era, it would have been a huge success because everyone would have been at home and nobody would have been able to play their console because not everyone would have a, like someone would be using the TV, but that way someone can use the TV and the console is on, but you can still play it through the Wii U. But whatever.
But needless to say, when it came to establishing Nintendo's presence here,
Yeah, those are the fucking goats of Nintendo.
he did that in more ways than one. So when Bowser entered the fray, nobody really knew what to expect from the guy. Yeah, he had been with Nintendo for a couple of years, but a lot of people were quick to point out his previous employment at a certain company. Aside from his initial debut, he really hasn't appeared in a lot of directs. And
Yeah, because he's busy collecting money. He doesn't care about the franchise. He only cares about collecting money.
whilst he has popped up in a few events and interviews over the past couple of years, he didn't exactly have the same showmanship as his in-game counterpart did. He didn't exactly have the same appeal as Reggie, nowhere near close.
Yep.
Though during his 6 years as president, there have been a few notable successes, and I would still count these because Nintendo is a global company after all, and it needs to succeed not only in Japan, but in the countless other countries where it also sells hardware and games. He's overseen the second half of the Nintendo Switch's life cycle in the West, which, as of recording, has sold 150 million units worldwide, becoming the second best-selling console to date, just behind the Nintendo DS. Whether it is the best console to date, that's really up for debate. And
whatever.
honestly, I'm more inclined to lean towards the Wii anyway. There's also been a massive push by Nintendo outside of gaming, going into films like the Super Mario movie, which everybody practically means
That fucking face, it will never disappear from the internet.
the casting for, including NA stars like Chris Pratt, Jack Black, Charlie Day, and so on, with a Galaxy sequel on the way too. Not to mention supporting the push by Nintendo to create theme parks like Super Nintendo
I think that those were good things, I guess. I mean, yeah, I guess that does make sense. I guess those are good things.
World and the upcoming PokéPark Kanto that is being built. Can't say
Pokemon Kanto centers were
to
what?
create theme parks like Super Nintendo World and the upcoming PokéPark Kanto that
Where are they gonna be built? In what state? I hope it's in California because oh my god, that would be an actual reason for me to actually go back to Hollywood. But I've already been there to like the Mario, to the Mario place, and I have already seen everything that there is. The only real attraction in Mario, in Super Mario World or Super Nintendo World is just the Mario Kart course, and that's about it. Because then the other thing that I would say, where is worth your money? It would be on the cafe, the Toast2 Cafe. I think that it's a nice experience to try out. There's also the little like Nintendo shop somewhere around when you first enter the Hollywood Studios. When you first enter, you can see one of those Nintendo shops, and I think that's also a place where it's worth your money. But I think that Toast2 Cafe should be the second place to spend your money. And I think lastly it should be the little things that requires you to have like the little watch, like the little clock thingy where you have to scan it in order to like gain points and like play at those little like mini games that are around there. But like, what even is the purpose of getting the points? Like, what can you redeem? Can you redeem stuff at the Toast2 Cafe or not? Like, I don't know. But I would say your first place to visit is the Mario Kart course, and then it's the Toast2 Cafe, and then everything else it's just whatever, really. But I do think that Super Nintendo World is a deceiving name. Where's the Zelda stuff? Where's the Pokemon stuff? Where's the Metroid stuff? The Animal Crossing? You have all of those things. That's an actual Nintendo World. I have a huge vision for an actual Nintendo World, and it would look so great. It would actually look like a Nintendo World. It would basically be like its own mini park. Basically, like, you know how Hollywood Studios has, or Universal, I don't know what's it called, Universal Studios? Universal Studios, yeah. Universal Studios has like, you know, it has the Simpson area, the Harry Potter area, the Mario area, and like what else does it have? Like some other stuff area. Like it has those places, but an actual Nintendo World, it should be like its own place, its own park. You have the Mario area, the Zelda area, the Pokemon area, the Metroid area, and the Animal Crossing area, and some other more that we can include. And it would be a huge success. It would be a huge success. There would be lots of fans, and it would be you would have so many fucking tickets if like for example, in the Nintendo shop, or in the Pokemon area, you sell exclusive cards that you can only buy at the Pokemon shop in the Nintendo area. That would get so many people to go in there. That would get so many people to go in there. There are so many things I myself like, and again, the reason I am thinking of these things is because I love Nintendo and I love the Nintendo franchises, and because I want Nintendo to succeed, I'm thinking of ways that are good not only for the shareholders but for the fans and the consumers. That's because I have passion. But someone like Bowser doesn't have passion. Bowser's only thinking from a corporate perspective. And yes, from a corporate standpoint, yes, the Wii was a good thing, the Nintendo World was a good thing, but it's lacking. You can do much better, but you don't want to put the effort into it. You just want to move on to the next thing. You can improve the thing.
It's being built. Can't say I've been there myself, but I've heard from family and friends that it's a good time, even if it's an attraction mainly catered towards children. But
What?
I've heard from Nintendo World and the upcoming PokéPark Kanto that is being.
Pokemon Kanto. Pokemon Kanto is home to the first Pokemon Kanto region. Oh no. PokéPark Kanto is said to be a landmark attraction for Pokemon enthusiasts offering. Okay, it's gonna have the forest, Satch Town, interactive experiences, accessibility, ticket sales. But where it will be built, that's the thing. But where? Is that in Japan? Because, I mean, if I was creating a PokéPark Kanto, first place I would build it, it would be in Japan. Especially in the Kanto region. We'll look at this afterwards, okay?
Being built. Can't say I've been there myself, but I've heard from family and friends that it's a good time, even if it's an attraction mainly catered towards children. Not to mention he helped steer Nintendo of America through the pandemic, a time when lockdowns drove a massive
Like, I feel like anyone would have done the same shit, like steering the company through the pandemic. Like, that's just like a no-brainer. But given that many companies actually ended up going bankrupt, I guess that's one thing that I have to recognize from Bowser, I guess.
boom in gaming, since people suddenly had a lot more time on their hands. I think one of the things Doug Bowser can hang his hat on is the release of the Switch 2 earlier this year, but that is very much.
I think the Switch 2 being released so early is such a bad marketing move, because you essentially have no games. The only games on the Switch 2 are games that are already released on the Switch 1, and just Mario Kart World, which is such a dead game that sucks ass and is inferior to Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, and the other game is Donkey Kong Bonanza, which it's a really good game, but that's about it. And then you also have the Pokemon Z, but it's still going to come out, and we don't know if it's gonna be buggy and everything. We don't know yet. But other than that, there's really no games unique to the Switch 2. If I was the head of Nintendo, I would have delayed it a little bit later, so that basically there's just more time available for the games to be developed, so that at least 5 unique games to the Switch 2 can come.
Much a last minute sort of thing, because aside from that, there aren't really a lot of headline grabbing things that you could really associate with Doug Bowser, which is why a lot of people have this sentiment of, wait, what did bro do exactly?
Well, the prices are, their sales, right? So they're also the reason. Like, what the fuck? Why the fuck is the damn games never going on sale? Reggie would have made the games go on sale.
And let's not ignore the elephant in the room here. Nintendo's reputation has taken quite a beating in the past couple of years.
And also, no, actually, I don't think though Bowser is responsible for the lawsuit to Paul World because that's a Japanese regional thing. Though Bowser is in charge of the West, not Japan, so I can really put that on him.
Especially in recent months, thanks to some polarizing decisions made by the company, and Doug Bowser had to be right at the center of it all for better or for worse. The Nintendo Switch 2 is one of the fastest selling consoles to date, and people are not happy about that.
Yeah, because it's so expensive, but the fact is that it's not even worth. Like, I would understand it if there were like 10 games unique to the Switch 2. I would understand it. I would understand why it would be worth to buy. But right now, it's literally no game. The only game that they have right now that's actually good and playable is Donkey Kong Bonanza. That's it. Because the other game, Super Mario Kart World, sucks ass. It's so dead. It's empty. So yeah, that's why people are mad. And also because Nintendo is releasing it alongside games that are just even more expensive. And it's just way too, like, it's locking players out of it. Obviously people want the price to lower. Because here's the thing. Technology has developed so much so that you can make games at such a faster rate. At such a faster rate and in great quantities. That should mean that the price should lower because you can afford to get it lower. But Nintendo doesn't want it. But then of course you have the Nintendo fans and the bootlickers that are still captured by Nintendo's nostalgic tactic that nobody's opening their eyes in order to realize that, hey, maybe this thing is not good. Maybe this isn't a good move after all. Or hey, maybe this is not good for the company. It's not good for the franchise. And so yeah, and the reason as to why these people can afford it is because we're talking about upper middle class people, content creators, and game journalists. These are the people that would just buy the games, and will basically subsidize Nintendo with their money, and that's about it. I will say though that if there are content creators, I understand it. I get it. It's your job. But don't go saying vote with your wallet and then immediately go be the first one in line to buy the damn console and the damn game. That's hypocritical. It's one thing if someone that's literally who is only plays video games and doesn't mind paying the price, and is literally not telling the people vote with your wallet. I am fine with that person, with that content creator. So there are two kinds of content creators. We have the content creator that literally is not encouraging their fans to do anything, and you have the content creator that is encouraging their fans to vote with their wallet. One is going to become a hypocritical. The other is not going to be a hypocritical because they never told their audience to vote with their wallets. So yeah.
The console is considered to be way too overpriced for performance equivalent to, well, last gen. Although with recent price increases from Xbox and
Xbox did it in retaliation. And even then, like, what the fuck? Like, is anyone really buying the Xbox? Oh no, is anyone really buying the Xbox consoles? Like right now? Because here's the thing. Whenever I'm buying a console, I'm not gonna buy an old one. I'm gonna buy the latest one. Or at least the one that's like one generation before because it has so much games available.
PlayStation, it's less egregious now by comparison. Don't get me wrong, I still think it's a bad deal, but it looks like the industry has turned into a race to the bottom between the three.
It's a race to the bottom, and the only one that's gonna be ahead is gonna be China. Yeah, China is gonna win through its games on PC. And again, PC is the ultimate console in a way because you can access the same games. No game is exclusive anymore. That's good. The only exclusive games is Nintendo. That's the only thing that keeps Nintendo running and alive. Is the fact that their games are exclusive to their console. Because I guarantee you, if their games could be played on PC, why bother paying for the console?
Giants of gaming. Nobody has quite forgiven Nintendo yet for charging for a tech demo to show you.
Yeah, that's so fucking ridiculous, so predatory. What the fuck? The tech demo is meant to be free. Why is anyone gonna pay for the damn demo?
Well, you know how the console works. Nintendo has always been a bit fussy about what it's willing to give away for free, and quite frankly, the Wii Sports thing was a miracle in itself. Now, working a handheld console isn't exactly rocket science, but considering that the vast majority of Nintendo's audience is quite...
Oh yeah, because Wii Sports was given for free with the Wii in order so that people could test out how the Wii actually works.
young, it really wouldn't have gone amiss to add it for free. And let's not forget how Nintendo became the first company to break the dam and charge $80 for a game, which stings even more.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. That's the problem. Usually, a game at this point, if a game costed $50 in 2012, by this point in 2025, it should cost around $10 or $5 even. That's so predatory, bro.
Or because Nintendo is not known for lowering its prices over time. Not to mention paying that kind of money for a key card that doesn't even get...
Yeah, it's a key card. Like, what the heck? Like, it's not even the cartridge in itself anymore. It's not even the cartridge anymore. It's just to pay for a damn like box with a piece of paper in it. At that point, you might as well just buy the game digitally.
contain the full game. And all of this on top of the other things going on with Nintendo at the moment. The talk
And also, at that point, like, with a key card, it's like, can you even resell this? Can you even resell it?
of the town at the moment is the ongoing lawsuit against Power World, a survival monster catching game that became a smash hit when it first launched. So much so that the Pokemon Company and Nintendo couldn't really turn a blind eye and filed a patent infringement lawsuit instead against Power's developer PokéPark. And from that lawsuit, Nintendo has decided to go after the modding community, saying that it's not counted as prior art because it requires
Nintendo argues mods should not count as prior art in PokéPark patent lawsuit. What? Reportedly claims mods are not games, as they cannot run independently. Oh, ROM hacks? ROM hacks are basically a mod, which is basically like it changes and it alters the entire experience. Oh my god, Nintendo is literally shooting themselves in the foot with these decisions. Like, how nearsighted are they? Are they retarded? They're losing so much profit by punishing gamers and fans. These aren't people with evil intentions. These are people with actual love for Nintendo. And they're getting punished by Nintendo.
a base game to use, completely ignoring the fact that things like microtransactions and DLC
The early DLC repeal was a shocker, but the controversy... What? Mega Dimension? Oh wow.
exist, things that can only be used with a base game in mind. And speaking of patents, Nintendo's new patent filing
Wait,
will
what?
be used with a base, ignoring the fact that things like microtransactions and DLCs exist, things that can only base games to use.
Oh, they're saying that, oh, because, you know, they don't want people to mod their games. Yet at the same time, because, you know, they're not independent from the base game. Yet at the same time, Nintendo is selling DLCs, which cannot run independent from the game. Yeah, that's so hypocritical.
Completely ignoring the fact that things like microtransactions and DLCs exist, things that can only be used with a base game in mind. And speaking of patents, Nintendo's new patent filing around sub-characters has also...
That's so ridiculous. It's such a bullshit law. We need to here's what gamers should do. Gamers, rise up. After the boomers die out and after the Gen Xers die out or they grow older, whenever the millennials and the Gen Z get allowed to run for office, even if they have weird cultures and weird politics or whatever, if there's a gamer amongst them, vote for the one that's a gamer. Because the one that's a gamer will have gamers in mind and not shareholders in mind.
also raised a few eyebrows, focusing on a specific flow of summoning a creature, starting a battle against an enemy, or following the player if there is no encounter to be made. Though critics argue that it's overly broad, rather vague, and
No, actually, the gamer will have the shareholder and gamers in mind. The one that's not a gamer is only gonna have the shareholders in mind, and the gamer is gonna be more passionate about the industry improving, whilst the other one just doesn't even want to improve at all. They just don't care. And they only make actions whenever things go super wrong.
discourages innovation. That enforcing patents will only limit indie developers who may steer clear of similar mechanics out of fear of legal trouble, lest they invite the wrath of Nintendo's lawyers. And I don't really see a lot of people bring this up now, but Nintendo has been extremely, I think annoying is a good word to describe it, against tournaments like Smash and whatnot. Nintendo
What?
recently started to crack down.
Why? Why? Why are Nintendo such filled with fucking masochists and retards? Why? Nintendo, do you realize that the Smash tournaments actually make people more willing to buy Smash games? Because if there's an, I don't know, the Switch One, there's Smash Brothers, right? Ultimate, right? If there's a game, if there's a tournament with the Smash Ultimate, and I see how people are playing, the fun that people are having, you know how that makes me feel? It makes me more inclined to buy my own copy of Smash Ultimate. But now that Smash tournaments aren't a thing anymore, well, if I didn't want to buy Smash Ultimate, well, I'm no longer gonna be inclined to buy Smash Ultimate because what else can I do with it? Because at least even introverts could participate in the Smash tournaments.
On tournament organizers that hadn't really asked for permission beforehand, alongside enforcing all these specific requirements depending on the size of the event. It even forced a charity speedrunning event.
Japan's biggest charity speedrunning won't have Nintendo games because Nintendo couldn't help but Nintendo. Oh my god. Why Nintendo? This does a huge damage to your reputation.
Called RTA, which had featured Nintendo games for almost a decade, to remove its titles because the charity event didn't get approval, only chasing them up about it in the last possible moment, meaning that they didn't really have it get approval, only chasing them.
I think in America we have to make laws in order to restrict Nintendo's overreach, because I find this an overreach of gamers' freedom of expression. If you own a product, you paid for it, you own it. And if you own it, you should be able to hold charity events, you should be able to hold competition, you should be able to modify it. Those things are freedom. They are freedom of the individual, and America needs to enforce the Constitution and the First Amendment. And if they need to go and make laws that will limit Nintendo's overreach, that has to be done. But unfortunately, we have so many boomers and so many anti-gamers in Congress and in government that nobody is paying attention. They're ignoring it. That's why we have to vote for gamers, first and foremost. Even if they may have weird politics, gamers first and foremost.
Them up about it in the last possible moment, meaning that they didn't really have enough time to sort everything out before the event began, meaning that those specific games had to be dropped. Even though the president of Nintendo of America has some influence on certain matters, the final say ultimately lies with leadership in Kyoto. That being said, because they are essentially the face of the company in the West, they end up getting the majority of the heat whenever there's controversy, say the rise of the $80 price tag for the Switch 2 games. It kinda comes with the job and why they get paid the big bucks. Which leads to my final points of who will replace Doug Bowser when he leaves by the end of the year and is set to lead Nintendo of America from 2026 onwards. Because the new president has already got off to a bit of a rough start, and I'd argue through no fault of her own. From January 1st, 2026 onwards, Devon Pritchard, I think I'm pronouncing that right, will become the new president, and the first woman to hold the role, which I've already seen some pushback on.
I know. Like, you will always get fucking trolls like him getting mad about it. Like, obviously Grummz here is just a fucking retard here. I'm sorry if that actually offends Grummz, but like, sometimes he's just a bit too out of touch. Yes, I know you have like DI and like Vogue, and there are a bunch of Karens ruining the gaming industry. That's true. But let's not be too quick to judge. She might have Ouija's spirit. But again, let's not be too quick to judge. Let's not jump to the guns.
Which, I mean, calm down. She's not the boogeyman for crying out loud. But regardless, she isn't somebody who's just appeared.
And again, Grummz is an old guy, right? He's about what, 50 years old? He has PTSD of having the gaming industry being invaded by parasites like Karens. I understand that. But sometimes let's not fall into the temptation of judging things just because it happens. Yes, it's a point in the graph and it may be a pattern of recognition, but let's hope that the pattern of recognition is wrong. Because in fact, you actually want to be proven wrong whenever you're predicting the bad at the worst outcome. For example, if I predict that the end of the world is gonna happen, I want to be wrong because I don't want the end of the world to happen.
Out of thin air. She's an experienced businesswoman who's been with Nintendo for nearly 20 years.
20 years. We need to do more of an investigation about her. Has she had any other affiliations like with EA, or has had the same kind of stances as Doe Bowser? Or is she more on the Reggie side? Because if I was her, I would try to be more into the Reggie side of things. That way, you know, not only as an individual, you get more likable, but you also get Nintendo's reputation to increase.
And is currently the... Hold on, I need to read this. The Executive Vice President of Revenue, Marketing and Consumer...
Revenue. Oh, marketing and consumer... Oh. So you are the reason... So you're basically being Doug Bowser's fucking... You've been Doug Bowser's sidekick. Oh, shit. Oh, we're fucked. We're never fixing things. But Devin Pritchard, if you somehow find this video, please try to undo whatever Doug Bowser did and lean more into the Reggie side of things. It's gonna be good for you as an individual. It's gonna gain you even more profits, more money. It's gonna get Nintendo even more revenue, and it's gonna get Nintendo to be more likable. Just think for this. Use your brain.
Experience at Nintendo of America. Man, that's a long title. But already some people are a little apprehensive. And I'm curious to know... America. Man, that's a long title. But already some people are a little apprehensive. And I'm curious to know why exactly.
PTSD. It's PTSD of what happened during the woke era. That's why.
Dug around online a bit, and it seems like most of the chatter boils down to one thing. Her legal background.
She was worked 20. Why is this in my bad thing? She's Nintendo's patent. Oh, fuck. Yeah, she's a Nintendo ninja. Oof.
From a law education to
she's already compromised.
Heading Nintendo's legal department back in 2006, before eventually moving into leadership roles in marketing, business affairs, and publisher relations. Basically, the argument people make is that since Nintendo has been pretty aggressive legally over the past few years, some were hoping the new president would push for a bit more leniency within the company. But with Devin Pritchard taking the wheel, many fear that she will further encourage it instead.
Oh,
but
man.
As we've already noted, the president doesn't actually have as much power as people are led to believe, especially since there will be a new leadership dynamic within Nintendo of America, which we'll go over in a moment. But it's strange to me that just because she's spoken about a few patent lawsuits in the past...
Oh, so... Well, in this case, I guess she has done some good things.
Some folks are assuming that she'll be a patent lawyer or a numbers corpo for Nintendo. Honestly, I think that's jumping the gun a bit. It's hard to say how she will fare in the role when she hasn't even taken up the role yet. And while I am of the mindset that not much is really going to change with this leadership shakeup, like prices aren't going to suddenly drop as soon.
I hope things improve. That's all I hope. Things have to improve in some way.
If she's promoted, I'm also not going out of my way to pray for her downfall, you know? Especially since there's going to be a joint effort in the American region from now on. What do I mean? Well, the news I don't really see a lot of people talking about is that Nintendo of America is getting a new CEO. So
Satoru Shibata becomes Nintendo America CEO November 16. He will still be the head of publishing developer relations division. Oh, and he shares the first name with Satoru Iwata. Let's hope this beautiful man right here is like Satoru Iwata. if we have a combination of someone like Satoru Iwata and someone like Reggie, things will be good.
Satoru Shibata, starting November 16, 2025, which in terms of hierarchy is essentially above the president. He will continue his roles as Nintendo's managing executive officer and corporate director, and remains a member of the board. This guy is no joke. He's been with the company since 1985,
Ooh.
40 years with Nintendo.
He has to be
and
one of the
he was the former
OGs.
president of Nintendo Reviewer for 18 years. He's a bit of a personality himself, which
He was very much an Iwata style leader. And extremely passionate about gamers. This guy is great. This guy is gonna be fucking great. He's gonna lead Nintendo into a good direction. That's what Nintendo has to do. Has to prove these things.
I think has been sorely missing from Nintendo's branches for the past couple of years. It's a notable return to a dual leadership structure.
This guy, alongside the hopefully good skills that Daven is gonna bring, this is gonna be like the renaissance for Nintendo, where it would actually improve. It would actually be more pro gamer rather than anti-gamer.
For Nintendo of America, a setup that hasn't really been in place since Satoru Iwata's tenure ended with his passing in 2000 for the past couple of years. It's a notable return to a dual leadership structure for Nintendo of America, a setup that hasn't really been in place since Satoru Iwata's tenure ended with his passing in 2015. There's a
Yeah.
little bit of confusion over what exactly the differences are between the two roles. From my best understanding, the CEO is the top leader and main liaison to the global headquarters in Japan, handling the overall direction of top leader and main liaison to the global headquarters in Japan, handling the overall direction of Nintendo of America. In stark contrast, the president handles more day-to-day operations, marketing and whatnot under the guidance of the CEO. Bowser's left the keys to his castle for, well, whatever comes next is really anybody's guess, but he did share online that it wasn't really a game over scenario for him, but rather another chance to level up, whatever
What?
that means. Well, it's undeniable
I hope he's nowhere near Nintendo. I hope he's away from Nintendo. Though Bowser, I don't want you in Nintendo's castle.
that he didn't exactly have the same appeal as Reggie did back in his heyday. Sure, he appeared in a couple of Twitter posts and stuff like that, but he was definitely a lot more of a behind-the-scenes kind of guy. And whilst being a quirky personality doesn't exactly make you a good executive in the eyes of the gaming community, it definitely says a lot when the majority of people practically forgot that he was
I won't lie, before he defended Marco's World Sprites, I just forgot though Bowser even existed was president. He's the definition of background
running
characters.
the show. On the other hand, a lot of the controversies that happened during his tenure, from the price increases to the patent debates, made him a very easy target for criticism, even if a lot of that fault lies with the leadership in Kyoto. Overall, his success, if you could even call it that, has mostly been in keeping Nintendo relevant within the West, even if a lot of people can't necessarily attribute how he was able to pull that off. I see a lot of people preying on Devin's downfall, but I'm also seeing a lot of people hopeful that she
I hope that Devon actually improves, because if she sucks, that means Nintendo is gonna suck even more, and I don't want Nintendo sucking even more, because really the only good thing Nintendo has ever done is not only revive the gaming industry during the gaming crash, but also actually create beautiful IPs, and it would suck to have those IPs gone.
She'll be a lot more proactive and really put ourselves out there, similar to how Reggie was back in his prime. Like I said, I don't really think this leadership shakeup is really going to change a lot of things. There's a lot of issues within Nintendo's practices at the moment that will take a lot more than a change in figurehead to really resolve. But I'm interested to see how it all play out, so thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.
Wow. Well, this was good. This was good. Now, let's watch the whole, this back PokéPark Kanto. I am interested.
PokéPark Kanto, the first permanent outdoor Pokémon attraction, will open
Outdoor?
soon. PokéPark Kanto is built on roughly 26,000 square meters of land within Japan's Yomiuri Land amusement park.
Yomiuri Land amusement park. Oh, okay. So it's within a theme park.
PokéPark Kanto is built on roughly 26,000 square meters of land within Japan's Yomiuri Land amusement park.
Pokemon has grown so much thanks to lots of support from many people. So we wanted to make a place everyone could come together and enjoy. A space where Pokemon will always be, and where people and Pokemon can have fun together. That wish prompted us to begin work on a world where Pokemon truly exist.
PokéPark Kanto can be broadly divided into two areas.
Pokemon live within the forest. When you step inside, you'll find Pokemon playing together in groups. We want to broaden people's idea of how Pokemon live and interact with one another by letting them experience a world with Pokemon in it. A place where we can tell visitors, welcome to the world of Pokemon.
I really hope you can actually have Pokemon battles. I really hope you can actually have Pokemon battles in here. Especially at the gyms.
As you enter, you'll be greeted by the diverse landscape of this rich natural forest where Pokemon reside. There's also an area where Pokemon and trainers gather, the town of your dreams.
You know what would be so good? At some point in the future, we will have alternate reality being a thing and improved, and we will be able to have like glasses, for example. We can basically see Pokemons, like the actual Pokemons moving, and like they approach us and like are around us. They touch us. We don't feel the touch though, and we also cannot touch them. But we can like act as if we touch them, and it would just be like a wonderful experience being able to see the whole thing with AR. I really hope technology improves to that extent.
Here, encounters with a variety of Pokemon await you.
That's cute. That is cute.